All right. As people continue to join this webinar, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just a couple of housekeeping things. I did have everyone muted coming in, so please just stay muted. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we will address them either on the call or reach out to you afterwards. So I have Patrick O'Brien here, who is going to be running the webinar. He is the CEO of LenderLogix, so I'm going to pass it over to him.
Thank you, Olga. Okay, so my name is Patrick O'Brien. I'm one of the founders of the company. Olga is on our biz dev team, along with Lisa Howard. She's on the call as well. Just a little background on our company. We sell a handful of products into the mortgage space, anywhere from a adjustable pre-qualification letter all the way through some non-cool things like automated MERS registrations and things like that. So the topic of conversation today is around fee collection. I'm going to share my screen, have some slides here, so we'll talk through these things here. Fee collection. So most lenders know why they should be collecting upfront fees, and usually these are things like application fees, appraisal fees, credit report fees. Most lenders have some component of upfront fee collection. And obviously there's a few reasons why lenders want to do that. One is it keeps the borrower invested in the transaction. You know, when you collect money from a borrower at the outset of a transaction, it keeps them invested so that if the interest rate moves a little bit, that borrower's not running off to another lender just to say like, hey, I can get an 1/8% better on interest rate. When they have some money invested in the transaction from the outset, they're much less likely to walk away from that. And second, it protects the lender, the downside in the event that the deal falls apart, that usually some of those costs that would be incurred as part of the transaction, generally the appraisal, would be covered, so that even if the loan, if the borrower withdrew or the loan was declined, at least that appraisal fee would be covered, because that's can add up pretty substantially when those deals fall apart. So most lenders know, collecting some upfront money is good. And what most lenders do is do a few different things. Some collect none at all. Some collect checks, which obviously there's a manual component there because you have to kind of get the check from the borrower and then send it into accounting, and accounting kind of has to deal with it. And then a lot of lenders use credit cards. Generally some like virtual terminal like component where the loan officer is getting a credit card number from a borrower, putting it on a form, maybe typing it into an online, a system form that's flowing through Encompass. And then a processor on the back end would run those payments in a virtual terminal. So they would kind of put the card information in there, run the card through the merchant servicer, and then when that card was processed, go maybe back into the LOS or go back, into Encompass and kind of update some things to say, okay, the fee was paid. We're putting the receipt in the e-folder. These were the fees that were paid, and that type of thing. So we had a client several years ago approach us that was doing exactly that, processing credit cards, so collecting fees from the borrowers, using a card processor on the back end, where they were entering that borrower information, processing the card, and then uploading the receipt into the e-folder. They actually had a regulator kind of take a look at that process and say, well, that's not really within PCI compliance, because you kind of have some papers and forms with credit card numbers on there. So you really should go in there and kind of delete that stuff out there. And it was just really a sloppy process. So that client came to us, who was buying other pieces of software from us, and said, we kind of have this problem. What do you think you could do? So we took a look at that process end to end and tried to figure out, okay, what would like a 5-star fee collection process look like? It's obviously a very simple part of the transaction, but it's an important one. So we built this product called Fee Chaser, with the idea that it chases down the fees for you, so you don't have to. When you automate that upfront fee collection, there's a few things that that we kind of bring to the table when we do that. Number one, it ensures PCI compliance. Payment card information compliance is a huge deal to the regulators. You don't want to have credit card numbers floating around in files and things like that. So when you're able to kind of bring in a PCI compliance solution, that's going to help from a regulation standpoint, a compliance standpoint. Number two, it decreases the turnaround time. When you bring in a fee solution like ours, and the borrower is completing kind of the payment information themselves, you really eliminate kind of a lot of the errors that come with that. People getting the wrong information or card declines and things like that, which in turn streamlines the internal processes. If you're getting card information from a borrower and it's being run through a virtual terminal, there's opportunities for people inputting incorrect card numbers or cards being declined or wrong expiration dates. You eliminate all that, and you're able to provide a better customer experience, and in terms of collecting those fees, increase the conversion of loans. Because again, everybody knows they should collect fees up front because it's going to increase the pull-through rate to closing, because you're less likely to lose borrowers that have some money invested in the transaction. So that's kind of the why and the reasons why we built the software. Again, it's called Fee Chaser because the idea is, we're chasing down the fees for you instead of a loan officer or processor having to do that. So how does it work? We integrate with the loan origination system, and usually how that works, we'll use Encompass as an example, through a custom input form that we build based on the lender's business process. So we have conversations with the lenders to say, like, okay, what are the fees that you guys want to collect? Is it an appraisal fee? Is it an application fee? Is it a lock-in fee? Do you have the need to collect condo documents sometimes? We can support all those things. So what we do is we have a conversation with the lender to say, what are the possibilities, possible combinations of fees you might want to collect from a borrower. And we create a custom input form. Usually what we're doing is we're picking up the fees off the 2015 itemization in Encompass. We're picking up the fees off the loan estimate, basically, that lender wants to collect. So it's not like we're just kind of applying some blanket, we're going to collect this, this amount or that amount. It's being pulled directly from the line item on the loan estimate. So, the appraisal fee is accurate, or if there's condo docs or something like that, those things are accurate because they're coming right off the loan estimate. And there's really two ways the fee collection process can be kicked off. One is manually, meaning that a loan officer or processor is sort of clicking a button to execute the collection, or it can be 100% automated, meaning that the request to the borrower to pay the fees happens because some sort of, whether it's a particular milestone or field trigger or something like that. Typically what we see is probably about 75% of our clients have some manual process where the loan officer is really kicking off the process. You find that loan officers like to have some control over when that happens versus it just being an automated request that goes directly out to the borrower. But we can support either one. Like I said, 75% probably have some manual component, and then 25% have some automatic send to the borrower. So what happens is, just go back to the screen here, the input form picks up the fees that we want to collect from our borrower, and either that loan officer clicks send button or it gets sent automatically depending on what the specifications from the client are. When that button gets clicked, usually what we're doing is we're sending an email and a text message to that borrower. Again, that can be customized depending on what the appetite of the lender is. Some maybe want to do email only, some want to do text only. Most of our clients, if we have an email address and we have a mobile number, we're sending both. We're sending an email and we're sending a text message saying, hey, please click here to pay, Capital Bank and Trust is our example institution here. Please click here to pay Capital Bank and Trust your appraisal fee for 760 Seneca Street. So referencing subject property address, it's got the lender's logo on it. They know it's legit, and quite honestly, they probably know it's coming because the loan officer would have told them they're going to have to pay these fees. So when that borrower gets that text message, I'm just going to move over to my browser here and just play a quick video just to kind of show you what it looks like in real time. When that loan officer, or I'm sorry, when that borrower clicks that link, so they get the text message, they click the link, and now they're just met with a landing page here. Please enter your credit card information to pay Capital Bank and Trust your $545 appraisal fee for 760 Seneca Street. So that borrower is entering their card information, their card number, they're entering their expiration date, their code, their name, their zip code. The lender's never getting this information. So you're never retaining any payment card information. We are never retaining any payment card information. We use a Fiserv merchant services account. So as part of our services, we set you up with a Fiserv merchant services account. And it went that quick. So I'm just rewinding it a little bit. So when that borrower hits that pay button, once that card is approved, they're met with that message that says, hey, you know, I'm just going to move this out of the way here so I can skip the video here. Once they hit that pay button and that card is processed, it's processed. So those funds are on hold with the merchant service that it's going to get deposited to your bank account the next business day. So, you know, there's no worrying if the card's going to get declined or if the wrong card number was entered or incorrect expiration date. Once that card is processed, if it's successfully processed, the borrower is given the message that it's been successfully processed. And if it's not, if the card's declined or there is incorrect information put in there, the borrower is triaging that. The borrower is getting that message to say, hey, the card's declined or incorrect expiration date or whatever the case is. So they're dealing with those issues of when there is a little bit of trouble, instead of your operations team having to do that several days later after a loan officer passes along the card information to them. So it's done in real time. As soon as that card is processed, we get that authorization token back, and that's when we're displaying the message, hey, card's been successfully paid. At that point in time, I'm just going to skip ahead on a couple of slides here just because I just showed you the video here. So again, the borrower gets the message, thanks for completing the payment for your appraisal fee. If you have any questions, contact your loan officer. That card's been successfully paid. The loan officer is going to get a notification as well, or anyone within the organization for that matter that wants to get notified when a fee is paid. So that's one of the things we customize with each lender. Who do you want notified when a fee is paid? Usually that might be the loan officer, might be the appraisal team, might be a processor, might be a loan officer assistant, whatever the case is. We notify whoever that lender wants us to notify that payment's been completed. We're also pushing some data elements back into Encompass, back into the loan origination system to show when was that payment requested, when was it received, what was the dollar amount. So all that information is going back into Encompass, and you're able to use those fields to, you can write business rules around them. So for example, if you didn't want a loan to progress, say loans can't be submitted to underwriting if fee is not collected, you can do those types of things around those custom fields that we're creating. You can also create pipeline reports around that. So for example, if a fee, a pipeline report of fees that haven't been paid, if like an appraisal team wanted to manage something like that. So there's a lot you can do around those data elements around whether the fee's been paid or has not been paid. We're also pushing a receipt back into the e-folder. So, anything that you might need there on the receipt, that's going on there. That's being pushed into the e-folder automatically. And what we're also doing, I'm just gonna skip around here. What we're also doing is we can update the fees that are collected as POC on the loan estimate. So for example, like if the appraisal fee was being collected up front and we wanted to mark that as paid outside of closing, we can do that automatically once that fee has been paid. So it's pushing that information back into Encompass and doing those, some of those things that you might have a kind of a person doing today. It's eliminating those manual tasks, and it's doing all that automatically. The borrower also gets a receipt. So when that borrower completed the payment, they would have gotten a receipt via email. So all these things that kind of people are sort of doing manually today when they're processing cards, all that's being done automatically when that payment is successfully completed. Just a few other things. So most of, 90% of the activity is going to be within Encompass. So your loan officers, processors, whoever's requesting those fee payments, that's all happening from within the loan origination system, whether the fee's been requested, whether it's been paid, the receipts, all that stuff's in the loan origination system. You'd have a handful of people that would have access to the payment portal itself, where if somebody needed more information or a refund needed to be issued or a transaction needed to be voided, there would be a handful of people within the organization that would have access to Fiserv's payment portal. And basically what that's going to do is that's going to itemize every single transaction. So basically every fee, every loan, every fee that's been processed will all be itemized. And these transactions can be exported for the purposes of accounting. They're also itemized along with loan elements as well. So it's not like it's just a list of random payments that have been collected. It's payments that are itemized along with the loan number, the subject property address, the borrower name, so that in the event that a particular payment needs to be located, it's easy to do because we're passing those data elements through with the payment. So that really helps from an account reconciliation standpoint, because now accounting isn't having to try to figure out what charges match which loans. Like they know because we're passing that information through along with the payment. Again, if in the event that anyone, someone in the accounting function or operations function needed to drill into a particular payment, they were able to do that, kind of see all the information that they need to get. If they need to issue a refund, they're able to issue a refund from that particular portal. So again, like kind of all the things that happen on the back end from an accounting standpoint, you're ironing out those wrinkles as well, because you're able to match those transactions with the loan file. We do this, we carry out this software with a partnership with Fiserv. So again, as part of our services, you open a merchant services account with Fiserv. And how we bill for the service is we charge a flat monthly fee. LenderLogix charges a flat monthly fee, and then Fiserv charges a merchant fee. So you might be familiar with when a credit card is charged, there's generally a merchant fee that's absorbed by the merchant, which would be the lender. So Fiserv charges that. That's kind of their fee for handling the card processing, and then we charge a flat monthly fee to the lender to kind of facilitate everything within Encompass. Let's see here. Oh, just some metrics here. So 60% of the time, the payment's made within 5 minutes of it being requested. So 60% of the time when that borrower, they get that text message, they deal with it immediately. What most of our clients do is have us send some reminders if the fee is not paid within a certain period of time. So for example, after 24 hours, if the payment hasn't been received, we would then send a reminder to that borrower, hey, this payment request is still outstanding. And then oftentimes if it goes beyond that, we'll send a notification back to the loan officer or somebody in operations. Hey, this fee is still outstanding. Those are a very small percentage of them are outstanding after 48 hours. Like I said, most of them are paid within 5 minutes of that request being made. Olga, is there anything else you think I should have covered that I didn't cover here? The software is pretty simple. We generally have people set up within a matter of weeks. And again, just really positive user experience and really positive, gain some efficiencies on the back end of what folks might be doing for card processing now. Anything you wanted to add there, Olga?
As Pat mentioned, everything is totally customized to your business process. So right on the screen is going to be an email if you had any additional questions or if you wanted a personalized demo to see, how we fit in with your current process. Feel free to reach out directly to us. Thank you for your time, everyone.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time, and let us know if you have any questions, either by scanning the QR code or shooting us an email responding to the email confirmation. But we appreciate your time today.